Flat Fishing decided to head out on a fishing adventure, bring our crew along, and we decided what better place than Pyramid Lake. So Carrie, our marketing coordinator, her husband Justin, Abe Blair, who's our photographer, and a couple of our VIP clients all headed to Pyramid Lake for what we hope to be an amazing adventure.
With these, you know how to work them, I'm sure. Just a little twist, loosen it up, move it up the line or down the line. So if you get it out there and it looks like it's dragging, just not floating naturally, then you're on the bottom and it's just a little bit. So all you want to do is bring it in and raise it maybe 4 inches. Get it back out there, because ideally we don't want to be this far off and we don't want to be laying on it. We want to be right in here with that bottom bug, and then you'll have another bug that's right about here as well. So this is a balance head leech. That's going to be your bottom bug, and then you have that little chironomid. So it's just going to hang like that. And essentially you're just waiting for that orange indicator to disappear. When it does, you know, your standard set for sure. And basically these fish, if it's a big one, it's going to take you right into your backing. So like I was telling, you know, just lightly hold on to the line, let it go into your into the reel, and then let the reel do the work. And a lot of times you will end up into your backing because they're just going to go. Just tip up, standard stuff. And then if you can, get it on the reel, but sometimes the fish are just going to hang out in front. Just strip it in. It's going to lay it by your ladder. We'll come in and net the fish, and it's all good.
Even like Abe said yesterday, when he got his shit off, he's like, dude, I hate to say it, but I'm dry. Yesterday we did well. We're in a different spot, and I think total probably landed about 20 fish. A couple really nice ones, but nothing in the double digits. So we came back to a spot that we started, what was it, Wednesday night. I got here late, but a couple guys were fishing it that we're with, and they hammered some really big fish. So we're back here today at Windlass Bay, it's called, and we're going to pound some big fish for sure.
Your rod's right here.
We got our gear on, got our ladders out, and actually it was a pretty slow morning till around probably mid-morning, and of course Abe got a hit.
Good for you. Woo! That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Right after that, everyone jumped back on their ladders and got ready because we knew that the bite was going to be back on, or at least we were hoping it was. And it wasn't too much later that the bite was on. I hooked into a really nice Lahontan, and seconds later, actually while I was fighting that fish, Justin hooked into one just right on the other side of Carrie.
Brian's got one over there. Justin's got one.
After the two that we caught, there was probably a 20, 30-minute pause, and then Justin ended up hooking into another great fish in the exact same spot using the exact same setup.
Got another one. He's fighting.
You know, everybody kind of had a different color on, and from black to green, some people are stripping, some people are indicator fishing, and basically just trying to figure out what was working, because nobody was really catching anything. And maybe black wasn't the best to have on because of the sunlight, and then I ended up catching one on black. But Justin's now caught two on the same color, so we're switching carries out just to match that up, because they're 10 feet apart, and hopefully it's going to pay off for her. So just switching it to a different color, and you know, just trying something different that's now starting to produce. Doesn't mean that it will again, or doesn't mean that black won't, but we're hopefully putting something on that they're keying in on right now, and giving it a chance. Everybody continued to fish for a while. We did end up stopping around midday for some lunch, and then tribal enforcement decided to swing on by, check us, make sure we had our tags, make sure we also had barbless hooks. I don't know if you can see it down there in the orange, but we all just got checked here, and that's one of the things that's changed at Pyramid is they are really strict about it. They did increase the prices right after COVID. This place got shut down. When they reopened it, the prices went up to about $24 a day. So a lot of people try to get away with not buying the fishing license. Or the other thing that happens is a lot of people will show up here for their first time and not want to be following the rules, have bought their fishing license, but don't know some of the little nuances to the rules. Like, you know, you can't be parking 100 feet within the water, or they're gonna hit you with a ticket. If they walk up here and you have a barbed hook, even if it's an accident, they're gonna hit you, and it's not a light ticket. They range from $100 to $150. So you really want to make sure, like when you check in, whether you buy your license online or whether you go to the shop here or in Reno, make sure that you understand the rules of this place too, because it is a very special fishery. It's extremely clean. There's no burnt trash. They really do a great job of cleaning up. You go to a lot of these campsites, there's burnt cans and burnt bottles, and it just looks like a college kegger. This place is really clean. There's special fish in the water, so know the rules, pay the price to be here, and enjoy it. Empty ladders surrounded the bay where we all warmed up during the lunch break. But it wasn't long before that afternoon wind started to kick up, which is always helpful when you're fishing at Pyramid Lake, particularly indicator fishing. And it wasn't long before Adam ended up hooking into a really nice Lahontan, and that got the afternoon rolling.
My name's Adam. Been fishing Pyramid Lake for about 12 years and come out here with Brian Oakland with Got Fishing and my best buddy down there, Mike Pena. And we've been stripping beetles. Been working pretty good. And Pyramid 2023. What else can I say?
Well, I always thought it was a little lake that it's kind of spiritual to be here. It's just very unique. As I was telling you yesterday, I'm certainly not an expert on the lake, but I do know a little bit about it. It's a lake there is no exit from it, so the Truckee River comes, and so the water's quite salty from all the mineral deposits. It's a lake Pyramid Lake is a lake that's left over from a lake called Lake Lahontan, which at one point covered about 2/3 of Nevada, and this is what's left of it. So there's actually dinosaur fish out here. I know in the early 1900s there was some commercial canning going on here. They were netting fish, and at the same time there were some dams being built over time on the Truckee River, which restricted the flow of the river to a point where the Lahontan were able to go out of the lake to the river to spawn, and a combination of poor spawning grounds and over harvesting caused the Lahontan trout at one point they thought they went extinct. And then someone noticed some odd cutthroat on the Pilot Peak range. It's a mountain range on the Utah-Nevada border, and Fish and Game went out there and took a look at those fish, and they eventually did a DNA test on it and confirmed that it was the original Lahontan cutthroat out of Pyramid Lake, and they had assumed that someone may have illegally transplanted them, perhaps. And so U.S. Fish and Wildlife took over and got some of that brood stock, and ended up getting a hatchery program set up in the Truckee River, where I think they were doing initially $1 million for a year into the Truckee River.
Wow.
And they kind of took over. They're doing pretty well now. I think a few years ago they had some of the first initial fish go back in the Truckee to actual spawn. So I don't think they're at a place yet where it's self-sufficient, but pretty cool story where we thought they were extinct and now they're back and thriving.
We did catch some fish, but the rest of the day was a little slow. And then to cap off the evening, Justin caught his third fish of the day, and that pretty much ended a great day. Just getting everybody a cup of coffee so that we stay warm this morning before we go catch some fish.
I was pretty excited yesterday when I hooked into the first one, being the first time being here. It's the first Lahontan Cutthroat I ever landed. It was the Summit species, so it had like that pinkish color, kind of almost salmon. It was pretty surreal. Being able to have the opportunity to come out here to Pyramid Lake and land a Lahontan Cutthroat kind of feels like like I can coin that now. It felt pretty good. Well, now that I've kind of gotten a feel for it, I'm hoping to be able to catch a little something bigger. Not that they weren't big fish, but I have seen photographs online and even Facebook groups and Instagram that I follow of what this lake can truly hold. And I'm really hoping that I could be able to get something a little bit bigger than what it is that I got today. I think from what the guys were saying, they look like maybe about healthy 8-pounders, maybe 9-pounders. And as most people would say, that seems like a pretty big size fish. But when we're talking about in regards to Pyramid Lake, I would say that we could go bigger for sure. So that's the hopes for today.
Yesterday we were out all day and everybody was getting bites around me. Brian caught a fish to the left of me. Justin caught a fish to the right of me. And unfortunately I got skipped. I had a bite yesterday, but that was it. So today I'm really hopeful to actually land a fish. So we'll see what happens.
The crew got an early start on day 2. Justin and Carrie showed up bright and early, got geared up, and they were ready to catch some fish. Mike and Adam showed up a little bit later, which actually ended up being a good play. The morning was slow, no question about it. Not a lot of action was happening around us in the bay, and we weren't really getting any hits either. I had one first thing in the morning, but that was about it. So a lot of people will step up to their first pyramid experience and they'll do a sinking line and they'll do an indicator. Again, we have a shelf out here, so there's different depths. Very, very important with indicator fishing that you know what depth that you're fishing in. That's probably the biggest tip that we can give. So how do you find that out? Forceps, throwing them out at an indicator. Or if you think you're in 7 feet of water, go a little bit over 7. Make sure that you're dragging a little bit and then shorten it up. You want to be about 6 inches off the bottom. A couple of choices there. Balance head leeches are super, super popular. The other thing, it also kind of helps with casting, having something like that on the front of your deal. And with an indicator and everything else, it just helps give it a stronger cast. What other people are doing, on this one we just have a balance head leech. On this one right here we're running a balance head leech. But we also have a little bit of chronomid on there as well. So it's just going to hang there and give 2 options to the fish. And this right here, what's nice about again, Pyramid Lake, as I was mentioning earlier, having some acclimate weather is, nice. The reason is because it takes that indicator that you have and it brings it up and down, which is then causing your balance head leech to kind of pulsate. Looks really, really cool. Fish love it. And they'll come and key in on it. Or again, we're having the hatches, they might choose one of these. Okay, the other style that I was talking about is throwing what's called a full sink, catching them on the strip. So we have this is called the Midnight Cowboy, really popular here. And then this is followed by just a little beetle. You see them in all kinds of different colors, whether it's white and green, maybe a green back, something like that. And what you're doing is casting out there as far as you can. You're letting it sink to the bottom again. Same with indicator fishing. You want to be off the bottom. That's where they're feeding. So you cast that full sink out. A lot of times, we'll pull 2 bugs. For those that are just starting to cast, or depending on where the shoreline is, sometimes it's easier to just cast the 1. I know 2 sounds tempting, but like even myself, who's been doing this quite a bit, I've lost a ton of these beetles, and they haven't always been on fish. A lot of them are just casting sink lines hard, and when you're really going for a long cast, a lot of times your back cast will drop, drag it across the rocks and pop that bad boy off. When you're stripping this top part here, because the fish, again, you're at the bottom, so they can't really see it, we'll do 20 pound for about 3.5, 4 feet. That also helps the bugs turn over. So it's really important that you have, why 20? Do you need 20? Not necessarily for the fish, but so that it'll turn over, you need that 20. And then from there, it just kind of depends. I've talked to some people that are using 8 pound. I fluctuated between 10 pound, 13 pound, and 15 pound. And I've lost a few on fish, lost a few on rocks, and we've caught a few fish as well. So both can be effective if you got plenty of room to cast in the back, or if you got your cast down, doing a double bug setup is the best. But those are the two ways that people are fishing here, at least off the ladders, is stripping and fishing under an indicator. Really no action started to happen until probably later in the afternoon. Mike ended up hooking into a beautiful Lahontan, and then Adam was there to help him get it in the net. What happened there, Mike?
Little midge action on the endo. Tapped it once, came back up and buried it. Hooked it. Money.
Awesome. The rest is history. Dangerous duo, put one in the net. And then we actually have double D. Justin hooked into a great fish later that evening. So that ended up really making it a great day. Things really slowed down, not only in regards to the fish, but also the bay that we were fishing in. A lot of people ended up vacating. There were a lot of boats out in the bay though, which that seemed to be having a lot of success, which indicated to us the obvious, that the fish were further out and deeper in the water column. It has been slow, huh? Well, today's the day. Today is the day. Bunch of quitters have quit, but we have not. And there's a quitter. There's a quitter right there. This guy's not a quitter. Justin did end up hooking into a nice fish, and then Carrie ended up playing it and landing it. It was her first true big fish, so it really was a win for everyone. Great job, you guys. Great job. That's a great fish. We're gonna get some good pics. Well, what are we on? Day 4 for me, day 3 for you guys, and it's been slow. I mean, it really has been. Justin put on one this morning, but other than that, I think one other guy saw catch one. A few people out on the boats, but it's been brutally slow. The weather's been brutally nice, which probably has some effect. You know, this Pyramid Lake, this fishery typically is better when the conditions are a little bit worse, wind's blowing in your face. So the kind of fishing that we're doing right now, obviously this is a lake that has different shelves to it. And so that's why people are out on ladders so they can get out to the next shelf. And so a lot of times these fish will stage at the different shelves at the different depths. And so right now what we're seeing is a lot of boats out there. As a matter of fact, a couple cats that were on ladders have jumped into their little kick boats because we're seeing a lot of fish rising out there, but it's beyond everybody's cast. So we can tell that they're in the bay, but they're just staging up out there beyond what we're able to cast. We're still picking up a few, but nothing like you would normally see. And we got people that are coming in and we got people leaving, which means that fishing's been tough all over the lake. People are just searching for, you know, where the fish are at. We're sticking through it. You know, one of the things that we do is not bounce around a lot, just kind of stick it out, wait out during the tough times, because things are going to change. And I'm a big believer that as soon as you leave, especially if it's been slow, things are about to pick up. And that's really what we've experienced. It hasn't been killer. I think Wednesday was pretty good. We put about 20 fish on. But every time we've stayed patient, let the evening roll in, let some of the conditions change, we have put fish on. So tonight, being our last night, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for just a little bit of change. We're hoping for some wind to pick up out of the north. We're hoping for these clouds to kind of accumulate a little bit and throw a little bit of shadow onto the lake. And we're hoping these fish move in, stage in a little bit closer because of a midge hatch that potentially happened and isn't, I mean, it's happening, but at what level we'll find out because of the warmer conditions. So it should drive the fish in and it should be a good evening. We hope. And that was it. The 2023 trip to Pyramid Lake was in the books, and I would say it was a massive success. You know, we worked hard for the fish that we caught, and overall we did catch a bunch of them. We worked hard. You know, sometimes the fishing was slow and we really had to work for the fish that we caught. Other times the bite was on. So I'd say that over the 3 days with the group that we had, you know, every single person ended up catching a great fish and actually multiple fish. So couldn't have asked for a better trip. The weather was amazing. People were even better, and fishing was fishing. You know, like I said, we worked hard, but we did end up catching a lot of great fish, as you can see. So can't wait to get back. Gonna make this an annual event, and yeah, what an awesome trip. Can't wait to get back.